Hello, and welcome back to another one of my very few tutorial videos. Today, I'm going to be showing you just eHow to edit a moving line on a map in Vegas Pro 17 or any other video editing program that allows multiple video layers, custom masks, and keyframes. We'll start off with a tutorial of the Oregon Trail. So I'm just going to bring in our blank map. We'll call this layer video. We are going to add a video track on top of that. We will call overlay, and here we're going to drop in our map with the line that we want to trace. So we're going to go into event, pan, and crop. We want to enable masks. So here, working on the top layer with our line, we're going to mask out just that line, and then we're going to time it with keyframes down here. We've got different tools here for creating a mask. Your top little tool here, the editing tool, when you have a mask, you can edit it with that, or you can drag the screen around. Here we can create anchor points. You'll have to close these off. They can be whatever shape you want, and you can adjust them accordingly. I'm gonna delete these though, because I can do something real simple with this more or less straight line. Here I'm going to start with a simple rectangular mask. And we just want this to be off the line to start because we're going to move it onto the line. And you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. Something else we can do. So if you look on my screen over here, my preview, that's kind of a sharp cut. We can create a feather actually. I'll just have this feather outwards, and I'm using the arrow keys. I think we'll feather it out at 2. So you can see this is kind of fading in and out. So as we move this, it won't be such a harsh line. It'll be more of a fade. I'm actually going to change this to 1. I think that might look a little just better with how small this is. So again, we're starting with this line off the map. And then down in my timeline here, I think 4 seconds just to cross that distance sounds good to me. So with the timeline selected here, we are going to now edit our mask. So I'm going to select the normal edit tool. I want to click off of there. I don't know why it's given me, like I could mess around with that. I don't want that. I just want to grab the corners. I'm just going to click away from there and then click back on the corners. I'm going to hold shift click and select both of those corners, and I can just drag this out to the end. So what that does in between these two keyframes, it's filling in the space. So that's just getting dragged out until that covers it. And what that looks like, if we play our video, there you can see that mask is just revealing the line that we drew. And then we could go even crazier, and I'm going to add a new layer here. We'll call this overlay. And I'm going to drag in our wagon. So this guy is going to precede the line, so it looks like the line is following him. And we can do that pretty easily. First, same thing, event pan crop. We're not going to do a mask here. We're actually going to change the position, so this top line rather than the bottom line. We're going to change position, and I'm just going to drag this. Let me jump forward and see where that line is starting. So we'll start kind of back wheel on the line. I'm going to delete this first keyframe and drag that over. I want this to start there with that back wheel on the line. And then I'll just jump ahead a little bit. So we're here at the timeline. I can see my line over here, I'm just going to move this over, and we can use the arrow keys to kind of tune that a little more. Just jump ahead, slide this guy over. I'm just trying to keep the back wheel on the line. I think that'll look pretty natural. All right, so if we play this, there's some parts where that line seems like it's kind of jumping ahead a bit. So what I can do, I'll just kind of look in between my frames. Okay, so the line's a little bit lagging behind. I'm just going to back this guy up. Try to keep the same speed as our line here. And this is a dashed line, so of course there's going to be some gaps here and there. I'm just clicking ahead with the arrow keys on the timeline. I don't like how he's jumped off the line. That's looking all right. I'm just clicking ahead with the arrow keys on the timeline, scrubbing through this. That's fine. Okay, here, see that line's getting ahead of our wagon. Yeah, let me just delete that. All right, let's take a look at what this looks like. Oh, there was a jump in there I didn't like. Yeah, that would be between those two spaces. I'm just gonna space out how long it takes to travel that distance. Let me see if that did it. Yeah, good enough. So that is pretty simple steps for drawing a line on a map. So we have our map layer, no lines on the map. We have another layer with the line on the map. I'd say something like this is optional. On Indiana Jones might use an airplane or whatever. You can do that if you want. And then here, we've just created our mask. Oh, let me click on this bottom timeline. Started with the mask outside the line, ended with the mask covering the line. And this just fills it in between. But you might not have a straight line in between point A and point B, because through the quarry here, that's where all the death claws are. You might want to travel a different route. So when you have a bunch of different curves in your line, that is going to require shaping your mask. We can't just drag out a rectangle. That wouldn't look correct. So let me show you what to do in that situation. So we're going to do the same thing down in our bottom video layer. We're going to have our unlined map. In the layer above that, we are going to have our lined map. And we'll just jump in here, enable the mask. Let me zoom in. We can start with a rectangle, which I'll do rectangle, square. It doesn't matter, just as long as you've got 2 points. We're going to drag those points out to the first corner. So I'm going to start there. We will put a feather on this. We'll just change it to 1 is fine. And now here you've got to kind of judge how far along in the timeline you're going to be making these changes. So here we've got kind of a short distance, we've got a bend, we've got a long distance, another bend, short bend, short distance. So I'm just going to jump ahead just a short way in the timeline. I want to select these 2 corner anchor points, and I'm just going to drag this out. And actually, I'm going to select just this one and kind of level those out, because my next step, I'm going to drag a line down there. So I kind of want a nice straight angle. Otherwise, as this is being dragged down, there's going to be sort of a slash in there. It would be more obvious if there was not a feather. You'd see kind of a hard, weird diagonal line. The feather actually is going to hide that. But regardless, I'm going to straighten these out so I can just drag straight down. So with this short distance, I kind of moved like a second or so in the timeline. I'll jump a little bit further ahead. And now what I want to do, if I were to grab these 2 points again and just drag down, that's going to mess up my mask up there. So let me just Control Z that. What I'm going to do is use the anchor tool, and I'm going to make myself 2 new points. I just drag this out, give myself some room to play, and I am going to select these 2 points and drag this down. And see, that doesn't mess up anything behind it. So here, and I'm going to drag the left side just further down so I've got kind of a more even line again. So let's just take a quick look what that looks like. Here we are traveling, and that's where we left off, and we'll continue working from there. So our next distance is just slightly less than that last jump we did. So I'm going to drag this guy in a little bit, and we'll get to the next position. So here, I'm going to grab 2 new anchor points again, and I'm going to take this to the next bend. We'll go right around there. Let's just take a quick peek how that looks. That looks fine to me. And then we have got a short bend to get around here, so I'm going to jump even closer in on the timeline. We will grab another anchor, and getting around this bend, I'm just going to grab the outside of the bend, and I'm going to pivot that, and just watch the shadow, the light versus dark area. That's just going to round the bend pretty nice there. I'm actually going to shove this in further, and then I'm going to round the bend on the opposite side, or the next bend rather. I want to give myself some room to work with. We will grab another anchor, and then again, pivoting around the outside of the bend, we will just go like that. To avoid cutting off my my mask here, I'm just going to drag this further out, open up this triangle, if you will, a little bit. It doesn't matter where this is. Even revealing this, since it's the same it's a copy of the map underneath, it's not going to look out of place having this mask way off the line. You could do this even with just the line and transparent background underneath if you got a PNG. That would work. I like to have the map because I can just see more what's going on. I'm just going to drag this in as an example. So here, let me see what's going on. Okay, if I'm going to edit this guy, oh, no, Control Z. If I'm putting a mask on this in the editor, I can't see what all's going on here. I can see it in my preview, but I want the map underneath. So you could have, just like this wagon is a PNG with transparency underneath, you could have just the map line like that. There's no reason that wouldn't work. You just won't see the actual map underneath in this mask editing window, which is why I do it the way I do it. So get rid of that guy. Continue working on this. Where were we? All right. So here we've got again a short distance before the next corner. So I am just going to bump this out. We'll do like that. And we can fine tune all of these. I'm going to grab my 2 anchor points, drag these guys down. You can put like a bend in these so they don't have to be totally square or sharp corners. But since we're working well outside of the parameters of this line, they can be sharp. That's fine. I want to grab just this guy. Nope. Oh, what are we doing? Okay, just that. And put that there. Let me just see what this looks like. That looks fine. I'm just trying to avoid any weird jumps or cutting corners. I want it to look like this is naturally flowing, and that looks good to me. With our feather on here, we can kind of cheese a lot of these corners. We don't have to pivot around each corner. The feather's going to kind of hide a lot of that. So I think I can pretty much go a straight line, well, a straight path up here, up until, I might even be able to do the whole thing in one go. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to jump way out here, even further. Let's do that. No, I want another anchor point. All right, I am going to grab these guys. And just drag that up, drag that over. So what's happening in between? Ooh, see, I don't like that. With the feather, it's kind of hiding that. But I don't like how this side is reaching up further than the other side. And you can see this is cutting off our line. So this is something that I might want to address. If I just drag that out, and I'm just going to track forward with the arrow keys and watch how that progresses. Yeah, it's getting cut off. All right. if I drag that down, all right, we're just watching that. I don't like that being so high up at that point, because that's causing, it's trying to cut this corner here. In fact, let me drag that out of the way. All right, let's see. I see what's happening. Okay. I actually want this guy, I want it over there. Is there no movement? Okay, that's accidentally a copy. All right. That's gonna look good. All right. Let's play from here. Okay. So did you notice around a couple of these corners, it kind of jumps? Yeah, this corner, I felt a jump. Yeah, that's one frame. It's doing that whole distance. So this would be, we would benefit not from dragging this up, but kind of having the mask move over instead of up. Otherwise, it's cutting across that too quick. Okay. Just delete that. Delete that. Since this is such a short distance, I'm just gonna keep that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 5 frames should be plenty. So I'm gonna drop an anchor point here. Drop one there. And pivot around the bend. We are gonna go another pivot around that bend. We'll go there. Grab both of those. What's this looking like? Okay, this I don't like, so just watch what happens. This line is moving back. So it's a short distance and you can't see it well, but it just looks off when it's playing because we have it revealing and then it's moving back. See, so I'm going ahead in the timeline. Yeah, we don't want our line moving backwards. What if I do that? Is that gonna fix it? I think that'll be fine. Let's see. Yeah, that's good enough. From here, new anchor point. Drag those guys up. Pop that one a little higher. Oh, I don't like that. I want one more anchor point. And boom, to the Vegas Strip. Let's just watch the whole thing. I think we are good. We're going down, around. That's a little slow, this section. What we can do, where are we from here to here? I'm going to shift click to select all these keyframes, and I'm just going to drag those closer so there's less time between these two spots. I gotta watch the whole thing. Let's see. Down, around. Okay, I don't know if that was laggy or if... Yeah, why are we hanging up here? So right at that bend, what is going on there? Nothing's going on there because that is a copy. All right. So you can drag these keyframes in or out to change the speed that that line travels. I think that is good enough for demo though. Now, something else that we can do, we've got a rectangle video, but a square map, and I don't really like that. I would like to mess with position here. Let's just make this match our resolution, 1920 by 1080. We're gonna drag this guy here. So I'll start, I'll be looking in the frame here. We can see Goodsprings, we can see the New Vegas Strip. And I want this to follow our map there. So let's see. Where are we here? We're down at the corner. So I'm just gonna drag this down so we can see bottom part. And let's get over to this corner here. Just gonna kind of slide that over. And then by the time we get here, I want to be able to see the New Vegas Strip again. So I will drag that up there. All right. And now we made changes to this top layer. As you can see, it's zoomed in on the line, but we're not zoomed in on our bottom layer. So what I can do, you could jump in here and you could copy each of these keyframes. In Vegas, the application I'm using, if I copy this track on top, just Control C, and then I'm going to right click, paste event attributes on the bottom track, and I want to take the mask off of this guy. And let us see how this is done. So here we're following along the line and moving back up. And that is how you can create a moving line on a map in Vegas or any other program that allows multiple video layers, custom masks, and keyframing for your masks. I hope you learned something, and I hope this can be useful in your own videos. Thank you. Bye now.